So, another piece that I think is a kind of telltale of leadership. I used to have a coach when I was in high school here, used to say that you can tell if you're a leader if people are following you. It has little to do with a title or, bluster or kind of volume. It actually is just like, will people actually follow your lead? And our next speaker today, I think, has decades at this point of a resume that demonstrates just that in various different hats that she's worn during that time. So certainly, I think a lot of us in this room are familiar with Kelly Loeffler's very decorated corporate successes that she's had. Clearly, we saw the work that she did when she was in the United States Senate. Yet again, in a very short amount of time, brought basically a new ethic, I would argue, to the way that she ran her U.S. Senate office that I would argue other Senate offices started to replicate. In extremely high value constituent services, by the way, things that we don't often talk about. I really want to commend you, by the way, you and your team for that, because we had a lot of kind of granular problems that we were able to kind of bring to her that she was able to get resolved for a lot of Georgians. But I think that as we move forward, she's kind of donned a slightly new hat. We talked a little bit earlier about Rally Red and this new initiative that she has that's trying to really move, if you will, kind of the political industry in a lot of directions toward efficiency and customer service. But among all of those, I would say just the common thread through all of those, again, is excellence and vision. And so it's a real blessing and honor for us to be able to welcome Kelly Loeffler to the stage. Thank you so much, Kelly.
Wow, good afternoon. I am humbled to be in this fight with all of you. It's a blessing to be here. But let me ask you, what are we fighting for together? We know in chapter 3 of Mark that a house divided cannot stand. We know that from 2,000 years ago, but we also know it from 2020. But I'm not here to talk about that. Let's go back to 1984, which I think holds maybe more parallels to where we are today. And in fact, 40 years ago, almost to the day, just down the road at the Omni Coliseum, there was a presidential candidate in town trying to persuade Georgia voters, which was a solidly blue state. That candidate was Ronald Reagan, running for a second term. He had his Spirit of America rally. And certainly he talked about all the things he's known for, limited government, low taxes, a strong military. But perhaps the most profound thing he said that day is this, and I want to read it to you. I've always believed that this blessed land was set apart in a special way, that some divine plan placed this great continent here, and coming here, Americans created something new in all the history of mankind, a land where man is not beholden to government, but government is beholden to man. That is our divine calling, to be a beacon of freedom around the world, across millennium. It is our calling from God to defend it. And in the back and forth of everyday life, it's easy to forget our blessings, unfortunately. But those that don't have the freedoms we have are happy to point them out for us. You might have heard President Milei of Argentina last week talk about the modern strand of socialism running through Western societies like ours. He basically explained that socialism is being rebranded as collectivism, that with a little bit more government money, with a little bit more taxpayer support, more government programs, we'll be better off. Well, we know better. Our strength is in our people, not the government. It's in our founding principles of life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, religious freedom, the protection of the unborn, everything that makes our nation great and exceptional. So what can we do in Georgia? What can we do here? Well, it's certainly all going to come down to Georgia. And again, we have to understand the divine calling that we have to defend our nation, which was founded in the principles that God gave us. We know from Psalms chapter 22, verse 28, "For dominion belongs to the Lord, and he rules over the nations." We are truly in this fight together. And there are two things you can do, and you can do them every day. First of all, pray for America. Pray for our elected leaders, and in some cases, their conversion. But, if we are fighting for something and we aren't praying for it, are we really fighting? We depend on God's providence, his mercy, and his grace for our strength of America. Second of all, get involved and get outside your comfort zone. Join an organization like Faith and Freedom or Greater Georgia. We cannot keep our state conservative and red without your actions every single day. In 1984, Reagan did win over Georgia finally, the second time around. And it stayed that way for about 40 years, give or take a couple of contests until 2020. But here's what's at stake. We can have our fights on Twitter, but the real battle is here within ourselves, what we do every day to make our state stronger. And I'll leave you with the words that President Reagan concluded his speech with, wherein he quoted a recent Medal of Freedom recipient. He said, "Thank you, America. May God bless you always, and may you always have God." God bless you. Thank you.